Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. It is Thursday, and that means another riveting edition of Dark Side of the Stream.
I didn't even know it was Thursday.
It's Thursday,
Gosh.
and we're talking about the documentary film in this week's episode, The Last Blockbuster, released last year on Netflix.
Another hidden gem, another great one.
It was. They didn't really reinvent the wheel here. There wasn't some kind of crazy J twist.
It's a novical, just
no
funny.
Kinda high fives between friends, if you get what I'm saying.
Brought back memories.
Yeah, it was nostalgia, and I think that's exactly what we got out of this.
Yeah.
Before we get into this documentary, let's talk about our experiences in video stores. Was Blockbuster the one you went to the most?
Well, prior to moving here, so as recently as, 8 years ago, we would walk up the street. There was a Blockbuster, and so we would walk up the street and go pick a movie to watch that night.
I think everyone did that.
That
we
was
were
just,
paying
that's
$5
not,
or $6
That's
a movie.
not very long ago, even. That's
No,
just,
it wasn't.
That's fairly recently.
I just remember whenever someone was telling me, "Hey, did you know that there's this service that you can buy and it's $10 a month and they send you 2 DVDs at a time?"
I had that, and I had it too.
And then I was like, "Whoa, that's so much cheaper than oh my god!" I don't even
It's an
think they'll let me.
interesting way to do it,
Yeah. So, but before we get into all that stuff, was Blockbuster the chain? Did you have some kind of weird? Was there one in
No,
California?
there were some weird, wacky ones. I know prior to that, I know in Hawaii there was some weird, wacky one down the street.
Well, like mom and pop video stores.
Yeah.
That was a racket,
Probably
dude.
like Videos Now or something.
You know how much money these guys and gals made? I mean, they had to pay licensing fees, but dude, when you think
Remember
about
that Be Kind Rewind
Yeah,
and stuff?
yeah, yeah.
You'd get charged if you didn't rewind the
Be
tape.
Kind, Rewind,
Yeah.
the FBI preview about
Oh,
would you steal a car? Then why would you steal this movie? Copying
And you could,
DVDs and stuff.
if you were really feeling crazy, man, you and your buddies would go to get either the UFC 1 or 2 video and Faces of Death. If you
Faces
wanted,
of Death. If your
Faces
radio
of
store
Death,
had,
if you
that was
had
the
it,
one.
That was like, dude, we're watching.
That guy's really dead.
The kids can pull Faces of Death up on their phone at any time, and then dude, that was like Faces of Death.
That was our TikTok.
Crazy.
That was our.
For those that don't know, if you're a young kid listening, Faces of Death was a video series where it was just basically epic fails, like dudes dying in car crashes or jumping off of bridges and stuff. Now you can find it on YouTube. But
yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of that stuff everywhere, which is crazy. But at the time, when
people dying, people getting killed by animals. And
growing
stuff.
up, that was the first no video that other than the taking your clothes off videos, that was the one that was like, you really want to watch this, dude? Yeah, let's do it. And it was kind of there's some weird stuff, but like you said, now anymore, you just turn on your YouTube and you can find all that stuff really easily. Faces of Death was good. The one thing about Blockbuster that always blew my mind, even now, there were always those covers of videos that I remember being like, oh God, that looks weird. Like the ones that come in mind were probably 2 Carpenter flicks. Prince of Darkness, the way the face is zooming into the church always kind of creeped me out. And then They Live, the alien with the sunglasses and stuff, that always kind of made me like, what the hell is that? But years later, they were some of my favorite movies.
Kind of like albums as well. You kind of browse and you go, ooh, this album cover
and it
looks
was all
sweet.
cover. It was cover
it's the
centric.
same kind of thing. It was cover centric.
Very cover centric at Blockbuster or any video rental store. It's Dark Side of the Stream, discussing our last Blockbuster experiences on Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.
Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, back in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream on this week's episode discussing The Last Blockbuster, a documentary film on Netflix about the last Blockbuster store located in Bend, Oregon. And really, these guys put up a hell of a fight to stay open for a very long time, and pretty much the entire world was against them. But like we mentioned in the last break, nostalgia is a big part of the video rental store. Have you seen what these guys are doing with their man caves? Have you seen these video rental store man caves guys are building?
No, but that's awesome.
There's several. If you Google them online, there's several of them.
Well, your house is basically a record store.
Yeah, basically. But they literally have the door, glass window door, and you open it up and you go in and it's just videos everywhere. Oh my God, it looks so cool.
It was, you'd go, you'd get a little bit of candy, get some licorice or whatever, and just have movie night,
I think at the end of the day,
it was almost like Like how going to the movies an experience, going to the video store was like a night experience. You know,
and you
go,
always seemed to go when you were like, oh, we got to go to the grocery store. What was the next stop after the grocery store?
Stop by the video store,
Go to Blockbuster,
pick a movie for tonight.
Every freaking
and you
time.
kind of went in with no game plan sometimes, just to see, what catches your eye.
Speaking of which, I always felt bad for the grocery store video stores. You know what I mean? Like, but they always came in clutch though, because they're always at the front and they only had like 4 or 5 racks. It's like meh. But when new movies would come out and you'd want to get one at Blockbuster and they were sold out, sometimes the grocery store video store would come in clutch because no one would think of that place.
Man, you just think of the whole process of it, and it's just another thing in our lives that is now
obsolete.
Now, instantaneous. Everything is just faster, quicker. Now we want everything now. It's just like, what's the next in 10 years from now? What's how? You know
what's going to be gone? I don't know. Who knows?
What's like everything is getting faster and quicker. Now I can push something on my phone and it shows up at my door the next day.
Theaters, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I hope it's not movie theaters.
I don't see how movie theaters can keep going, but I guess some people do.
I love them, but I hope. If we're being realistic here right now, especially, it's gonna be hard to come back from it. Especially when you can now see that most movies can be released same day on digital streaming as they can in movie theaters. But let's not talk about that and jinx it. So one of the things I always thought about Blockbuster that was a racket was the late fees, and I think at the end of it all,
that's what killed them. I
don't even want to talk about how many aliases.
No, you're good now. They can't come after you no more. You're good.
I had aliases.
You came up on them.
I had aliases to try and get, and then then at the end of the day, you'd all be like asking your friends, "Well, I owe like $10 there. I can't."
Whoever owed the least amount of money, that's who to go rent the video.
Dark Side of the Stream discussing last Blockbuster on 104.7 The Cave.
Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio discussing The Last Blockbuster, a documentary film released last year on Netflix. And it tells a story about a last Blockbuster in the United States located in Bend, Oregon. We've told our stories about the Blockbuster experiences and the nostalgia, which really is what this movie's strong point is. Not a long film at all.
No,
but,
it's an easy watch, and they've got some comedians in there talking about their experiences, so that's pretty funny.
Doug Benson's in it; he's always hilarious.
The guys who
Adam
work there at video stores,
Clerks. You got, and then of course Kevin Smith, who's
Kevin Smith plays a big part in this one.
Has a big part of it, and he, just like him and Quentin Tarantino, really are products of video stores.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if those dudes had not worked in video stores, who knows if they would have ever been directors at all. I mean, I think it kind of went with the trade. Like, originally, when I got into radio, I was like, I'm going to be in a band at the same time and make this work. But eventually, it's like, I'll just be in radio because bands, you don't want to tour when you're in your late 30s. This is not happening. So, I mean, even though we still play and we still do what we love and make money doing it, it's not going to be a feed your family type of situation. Same with those guys. And they just worked at video stores to make ends meet, and in some cases ripped off some of the videos they were hawking. Tarantino.
So funny.
Even though I love him, but, that is the way it is. But yeah, I thought it was a really good story. It does suck that kids will never know, the feeling of going into a Blockbuster, going through the covers, staying away from the horror section if it freaked you out, or
catch
going
a
in
sneak peek at the adult
trying
section.
to go to the erotic section, see some of the Skinamax movies, seeing Shannon Tweed's name on every single one of those videos, and that's all part of it, and you don't get to see. I mean, there are tons of movies that I got that were based off of just random happenings in Blockbuster.
Well, and that in the flip side of that kind of happens now because I'll be thumbing through Netflix and it'll tease me with something and I'll go, all right, I'll watch this, and so it's just a different. It's once again, it's more of that isolated one-on-one experience instead of these public experiences, which is. We've learned a lot about over the past year that, life is kind of headed more to the isolation. Kids are playing on their iPads together instead of playing outside at the park together.
That's the thing. I mean, my kid, my teenager.
It's all part of the same trend. It's all technology-based.
Yeah, it's different.
They hang out, and I'll go in my kid's room. She's laughing and playing.
Well, that's the thing.
There's
it's like
4 of them on the iPad.
When
hey, what's up,
hang
girls?
out with your friends. I'm hanging out with them. I'm like, what are you doing? Playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah, they're playing games. They're laughing. They're shooting videos.
don't want to say that I didn't do that as a kid, because I did. I put, like, early on, I had consoles as a kid, but I was more on the PC side of things. But I would play a lot of PC gaming with my friends. Warcraft 2, Command and Conquer,
Nice.
Red Alert, all that stuff
You didn't
with
have it
my
when I was
friends.
a kid.
Modem, frees up your family's phone line for the next 5 hours because you're playing online. We did that, but we also hung out in person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was best of both worlds. But yeah, it sucks, and it's just definitely a target on the back of us being outside, because this is showing where we're going, unfortunately.
But this last Blockbuster, I mean, these guys are holding strong up there in Oregon, still running the operation,
And again, it might come back around, just kind of how record stores did, but you don't own videos, you know what I mean? And that's the thing.
Yeah,
And why rent it if you can just own it? Especially if you're going to charge someone $5 to rent it, you can get that digitally right now for the same price.
Right,
and you can own
better
the damn
quality.
thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. All right, we'll give our reviews of the last Blockbuster next and figure out what we're watching. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.
Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. It is Dark Side of the Stream in this week's episode discussing the last Blockbuster. So what's our rating system going to be for this one?
I'm going to give this one, what is it, out of 5? Is that what we do?
Out
of 5. I'm going to give this one a 3.5 late fees.
3.5 late fees on this one. I agree. 3
About there.
3.5.
It was an easy watch. It was the kind of mindless have it on.
Yeah.
It made me laugh a couple times.
If you're looking for some nostalgia,
yeah.
And you had a massive account of late fees at Blockbuster, watch it. It's worth it. Definitely will make you miss it. I'm definitely not missing paying the late fees, you know. But thanks to Netflix, Hulu, and everything else, now we've got everything and millions of things at our hands.
Yep.
Made it easier. I wouldn't say cheaper, because I just keep adding streaming services to my bill every month.
And they keep going up in price every year.
I know,
So
every year is $1.
the late fees have actually got us a different way now.
We're getting different late fees now. So as we always do at the end of these episodes, we pick what we're going to watch next week for Dark Side of the Stream. Jay's turn, since I picked the last Blockbuster, which you're going to be.
I think we're going to do The Last Cruise.
So we're sticking with the last themes.
The Last
now
Cruise.
The Last Cruise.
It's a documentary about that last cruise ship that was at sea and could not come back into port because of coronavirus. And they were stuck out there. Yeah, HBO Max just came out.
Add to your streaming services if you don't already. You can make sure and please subscribe, like, share this podcast, Dark Side of the Stream, wherever you get your podcasts at. As always, Jay and Mike the Intern saying sign off. Please be kind. Rewind.